right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Best of the Rest. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
It's going well. I have have you ever watched the show Drunk History before?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Well, listeners, if you've listened to Drunk History before, you might be getting a drunk trophy history today. Um, Mike, you know how we made some Jello shots for our tailgate 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Well, I knew I made too many than the cups that I had, but I was like in between not having enough, like not having all 100 cups
Hmm.
filled, which wasn't going to be acceptable,
Hmm.
and knowing I was going to have extra if
Hmm.
if I went that path, right? So
Hmm.
one extra packet of Jello I knew was going to put me over. Well, my solution to that was to just put the rest of it in a little dish container.
Hmm.
But mind you, I mean, actually, I guess I can see if how. Oh, very quick. Look at the bed, yay! Um, I put it in, and I mean, this is a solid, I'd say at least a half an inch, if not, it's thick
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
of boozed Jello, and I've
Yeah.
already had a few slices out of it.
Wow,
You know.
you're feeling good. You're feeling froggy, huh?
Well, here's the deal. So it was one of those things where I knew this was in there, and I was gonna have it this last weekend because I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, weekend makes sense. Like I don't want it to go to waste. That'd be
Yeah.
nonsense. I would have just poured it out when I first made it. But I just honestly I forgot it was in the fridge, and it just never was a good time. So then I was like, okay, this is a good a time as ever. And I'm realizing because I was like, okay, let me have a couple pieces before we start, so maybe I feel a little bit of something. Boy, this is a little stronger than what we
Oh,
had at the
really?
old tailgate. Yeah.
Really? And
Yeah.
yeah.
So guys, just heads up, if we lose cabin pressure at any point, just feel free to put your mask on first before assisting me. But this
And
is
you're
this is
just
gonna
on
be.
the journey now. Like there's no stopping it. You're on the ride. It's
Yeah,
happening.
no, mind you, like I'm not drunk
Uh-huh.
yet,
Yet.
but I'm kind of surprised at how I feel having only ingested this, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think this is gonna progressively get fun. So if you also see me, just take some bites of spoon and
Yeah.
Jello. Yeah, that's what we're doing
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Because as it starts to feel better, you're gonna start having more Jello too. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop tasting
Mm-hmm.
certain things
Yeah.
within the Jello. So
Yeah. I love it.
yeah, great then. Feeling good. Do we want to talk about the text exchange that we had on Saturday evening?
Yeah, we can
Or
talk about it. We can talk about it. That's
and it's
fine.
Groundhog's Day.
It felt like Groundhog. You gotta. I'll preface all this. Actually, I'll start off by saying I do. I I do owe an apology to Ty Simpson for sure. Ty Simpson, Caden Proctor, like week one after that game, I'm like, boy, like, because Caden Proctor struggled last year and everything. Ty Simpson, it's like seat gets a little hot when you got a stud freshman quarterback behind you and everything. But boy, I mean, Proctor's played great. Apparently, all they had to do was be like, hey, let's get the ball in your hands, big boy, and like he'll turn around. And Ty Simpson's just making like really good decisions consistently. Despite having, I think his first turnover of the year against Vandy has been making some good decisions and making some really big plays, which is all you need. Um, and yeah, I think Alabama's playing pretty good. Uh, I will say, and that was a big one, right? Yeah, that was a big like monkey to get off the shoulder. I Before the game, it
Can we
felt
pause and just like provide some just like much needed context to that
I'm
statement?
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting
Okay.
there. I
Okay.
I wanted to get the positive things out of the way first. Like I wanted to have it on record first and foremost that an apology has been made, right?
Okay.
To certain members of the Crimson Tide. The team as a whole, I we'll see. But um I was just feeling like 30 minutes before kickoff. I was just thinking back to like 2015 Ole Miss. And like Bama lost to Ole Miss in 2014. It was like a crazy upset, totally unexpected. And then you go to see them again in 2015. And like to that point, like no one had beat Saban back-to-back years at Alabama except for Les Miles at LSU. This Ole Miss team under Hugh Freeze was not Les Miles of LSU teams.
Right.
And they beat him. And I was like, this, I texted EJ, I said, this just something in the air feels like Ole Miss in 2015. I mean, it was 10 years since that happened. I was just like, something feels off. And the way that game started with like, I didn't like that Vandy won the toss and chose to kick. I didn't like, at the end of the first drive, you're like, oh, Simpson throws an interception. Like, oh, it's essentially a punt. I'm like, yeah, but like you really want to score points against Vandy in the first drive after what happened last year. And then that first drive. And like they're just cutting to Diego Pavia's mom in the stands. And our secondary is just not making tackles on like that long touchdown run. And then Pavia got loose. And it was just like, the missed field goal. I'm just like, oh boy, like this is it. This is one of those games that Bama's just gonna like fuck things up. But I will say, when Pavia threw the pick in the first, Keon Sabb, man, like what a stud. When he threw the pick, when Bama was able to tie it up 14-14, I was like, okay, it's starting to feel a little bit better. And then the second half, they like Pavia was just like seeing ghosts for as much as that guy can see ghosts. Like was definitely getting a little frantic in the pocket, was scrambling. And I mean, Bama still can't stop a shovel pass to save their freaking lives. I don't know what the deal is. That's another thing too. It's just like a stupid play that like Bama just can't defend. It befuddles them. It's like that never crossed the mind of Ryan Grubb before to like, put or put a shovel pass in. So like Womack's never seen in his life either, which has happened with Bama before. Um, but yeah, they just responded. It was great. But I was really giving EJ a hard time. I was like, you motherfucker, you wanted me to apologize to these bums. They're bums. They are bums. And you wanted me to issue an apology. I know this team. And for that's why I want to get. They were acting like a team that was going to lose that game. There is not. There are many Alabama fans there for they're listening right now, and they remember 2015. I guarantee a lot of them were like, feels like Ole Miss 2015. Feels like a game where we lose, and we didn't. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the end because your measured, thoughts today
Mhm.
were not the text that I received. I
Well,
don't think I
I mean, had
received
they lost
a
the game,
single letter that was undercase. One. And two, it was such an overreaction. And I get it. You guys are
no,
used to just killing teams and
that's
it being done in the first quarter.
that's
But
EJ. No, the
you're
wait, hold on.
playing a ranked opponent who is a good team. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get in front of it. It's not 21 nothing in the first 5 minutes. I know Nick Saban
I want full.
has spoiled you
I want
all.
a full. I want a full timeout. I want a full timeout. Full timeout. That's the problem, EJ, is that like I get what you're saying. You're like, oh, you're just like spoiled and entitled and all this stuff. That's not it. Because I can like
It
the Florida
is.
State loss, yeah, granted, like I said they were dead. I wasn't the only people that said they were dead, right?
Sure.
That was not a novel thing, right? Even if they had they lost to Georgia, I wouldn't be acting. I would not have acted the way I did. Like it was, it would have been is what it is.
You might have if you had been watching the game.
Yeah, maybe. Well, not like this though, because it's like this is what I'm saying is it's not. it is not that like I have a problem with losing. It's the way in which they lose with any of my teams. The way in which they lose, they're like, I just can't stomach and I can't stand. Like that, had they lost that game to Vanderbilt, I would have been like, oh, just lost my shit. Like that's, I still remember how nervous I was when we played Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M after losing to them his freshman year and then playing them again. Still so nervous. They crushed them. They absolutely stomped the shit out of A&M. But I just remember being so nervous that the game. It's there's just
But,
certain games
but
that
that's the
they
thing.
just
You didn't even let them lose. If they lost,
they were gonna win.
then those texts would have been,
They
I still would
were
have told you to
acting. They
relax.
were acting like they were gonna lose that game.
You mean they were playing a quality opponent and it wasn't going perfectly?
No,
Welcome to
no,
college football.
no.
So okay, then
Again,
walk me through an acceptable loss. Take me through what an acceptable loss would look like to you.
there
A
wouldn't have been one
shootout
against.
because you
There
would have
would
then
not
been
have
pissed
been
at
one
the.
against Fanny. There have been no just the thing, like the missed field goal, the long runs, just like the little things that they just did, like the little things in the first half. But then like things started happening, right? Like people started making plays, right? So it's like it's they didn't lose the game, but like had like it was the type of game where it's gonna be like awfully quiet game from Sab and from the Honky Badger and from the Bama defensive line not making a lot of plays. Pavia just, doing whatever he wants, running up and down the field. That's what it was. That's the direction it was heading. And that would have been so just infuriating. Now, if they lose to like, I don't know, if they lose to like who's left on their schedule. If they lose to Auburn, like it's a rivalry game. Like shit happens. Um, just like the way in which they lost, they could have
I if
lost.
people that can't see this, I'm like trying my best to do like the Willy Wonka, like like meme, just like tell me more because I know the answer
You
to
don't
this.
get it.
There isn't an acceptable loss. You have such a warped idea of what a game should look like. You treated Vanderbilt like it was the Vanderbilt of old, but ultimately this is a Vanderbilt team that, depending on what they do against the other quality teams in the conference, could make a playoff. Crazy to say out loud, but like these guys have an offensive line. They have a quarterback. They have a couple seasons worth now in a system. This isn't a laughing stock. Like, yes, you don't want to lose that game. I'm with you. But your reaction 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes into a game that's 60 minutes long, that was what made me roll
Just
my eyes.
you
If
just
all
don't
of that was
get it.
happening in the last 10 minutes, it would have been a different story. Then I
No,
could understand your
because it
anxiety.
it happens in the first 15, 20 minutes and then it snowballs. It
When?
snowballs. Well, it didn't
Explain to
snowball
me the
this time.
last time it snowballed not at Florida State.
I mean,
And
Vanderbilt
no, no,
last
and let's
year.
just be clear here. We have an undefeated SEC Alabama team right now with one loss against another ranked opponent. Just so that we're clear on what Alabama is right now.
Snowballs last year. Oklahoma, Vandy, second half of the Georgia game,
Did they win that one?
second half of the Georgia game qualifies as a snowball. Qualifies as a snowball.
Hmm.
You just don't get it. You just
You're right. You're right.
don't
I
get
don't.
it.
And I don't think anyone outside of the Alabama fan base is going to be with you.
I'm sure there's a lot of
Not even
people
Georgia.
with
Georgia
you.
can't even. They had a couple good years with Kirby. High
Yeah,
five.
no, they can't. They can't get it. But
No. So it's a warped reality. I can't wait to get your text in Mizzou. Right. There's other traps, and I can't. And
Drinkwitz
there's
is a
gonna be
great coach. Drinkwitz
there.
is a great coach.
There's gonna be a
Great coach.
lot more. Third weekend in October. There's gonna be a lot
That
more
one, well,
heightening.
that's just I can't stand losing to Josh Heupel. Can't lose to Josh Heupel.
You're not no, let's be very clear here. You're gonna be like coach oh no. Oh no. What is his name? Give me a second. I'm gonna do this. You are it's not gonna be that you're just worried about losing. You're gonna there it is. You're gonna be Coach Yost. You're gonna be you're gonna be if they cross, if they gain one
One
more
more
yard. I already
yard.
know.
Yeah.
There's gonna be one pass, first pass, 10 yards, first down. Ah, fuck it. Bums. All caps, bums.
Yeah.
I already know. The only thing that's gonna be acceptable for you is negative yards, right? Negative yards to complete the game against Tennessee.
I mean, that was another snowball. But yeah. I mean, let's take a look back. I mean, you had yeah. I mean, because they lost last year. 2022, dude. Yeah. 2022 was the I mean, if they win this one, they'll have won 3 of 5 in the past 5 years, Tennessee. And that is unacceptable to me. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
No, you're fine. I'm just letting you know that I don't think I'm the one that misunderstands as much as it's
You
maybe a bit of you
just
being on an island.
don't.
Ask Penn State fans how they feel right now,
Oh
because I
yeah.
bet you they would love to hear
Oh
about
yeah.
your misery as an Alabama fan right now.
Well, you know what though? They're gonna do this together. This next one, they're just gonna do it together.
Yeah, listen,
It is
1-0 this week,
you want to know this
Northwestern,
week, baby.
Northwestern,
Uh-huh.
Northwestern.
Uh-huh.
Um, I am actually kind of upset that not that I would have ever in a million years thought that they were gonna lose, but I feel like I missed all of us did, but I've been trying to be pretty mindful for our pick'em challenge to find spots. I picked two this week. One was right, one had a chance, but didn't end up coming through. But I'm mad that I didn't think enough about Penn State coming off loss, even if they came off the win, just how emotionally, how much of an emotional toll that was. Then they have to go out to LA.
Mhm.
New coach Nico. They made Nico look like his first year at fucking
Awesome.
Tennessee,
Looked
right?
awesome.
And they had Sunshine as the offensive coordinator, carving him up. That was just devastating for them.
You
You
know, and it
can't be a 24 and a half point favorite. And I mean, I don't know what the final score ended up being. I think it was single digits, but it was a
yeah,
double digit loss, right?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, well, I mean, so I mean, I looked at that game and I was like, I saw Josh yesterday.
that what luck is that too?
Yeah,
Like
I know.
you don't see him that often,
I
but
know.
then to see him after
I
that.
know. I know. And I was just like, I texted him this on Saturday too. I said, like, you were correct. You were correct to make that pick because like James Franklin beats bad teams badly. Like you can't say much about the guy, but you can't hang your hat on the fact that if he's playing a bad team, he will beat the shit out of them and run up the score. Now, what happened Saturday? Why? Like when I was looking at that game, I thought maybe 24 and a half was too much
Yeah.
coming off of the big emotional loss and then traveling all the way across the country. But then I was like, big emotional loss. If you want to get the team back on track, if you're like, we've still got a shot, like one loss is not going to kill us. Like, let's go take care of business and just, get like this is a good game to kind of like, get things back on track, look really good. Not that they look bad against Oregon. Like, I don't think they look I think aspects of
No.
like, especially in the fourth quarter, they
Oregon's a very good team.
yes, yes.
And
So
that comeback was
yeah,
honestly was a lot of metal, and I can't believe they lost that game. I mean, beyond just the fact
yeah.
that he threw that final pick, but just it was a great comeback for them. it was an even better response for Oregon not to panic and let that snowball on them. It was a hell of a matchup.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and then I fully expected Penn State to cruise, have another battle against Ohio State, probably lose, and then they would have been a team in the playoff that you're like, okay, they could win the first
Well,
matchup
yeah,
and they
yeah, they
could
lost
be
to
like,
Oregon, they lost to Ohio State, but Oregon, Ohio
right,
State ended up in the championship.
right, yeah,
Absolutely.
like, yep,
Now, I mean,
yeah.
you gotta fire James Franklin, right? Like, there's no way he's done it. He has to be done at the end of this year. Like, even if, well, let me ask you, if he beats Ohio State, does he keep his job?
Yes. Should he or will he?
Both. I
Will
think we're on the
he?
same page.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because they'll break the streak. They're a two-loss team. They'll make the
Mhm.
playoff, might host a playoff game.
Yeah.
Yes. Should he? I will say this, and it's a tricky situation because again, we're in an era of college football similar to the NFL ish in the sense that we have a dynasty that ended, right, which made on it like that brought in, and even now with the Chiefs it's like there's expectations of what a Super Bowl champion or a national champion should be is completely warped. Like there are very few people that win this national championship, and that's how it should be. There should be a lot of parity, and I there is definitely a risk of the grass not being greener,
Yeah.
right? And it's tricky because Franklin really isn't a coach, right? He
No.
hires he hires very and they spend money. There's no lack of resources. Jim Knowles is national championship defensive coordinator. Kotelnicki was heralded as this, guru. Now the decisions on Aller and maybe some personnel decisions, what I don't know. Obviously Franklin's involved, but I don't know
Mhm.
who has final say there, like what the situation is there. And that's maybe the downfall more than coordinators. Um, but like they are a consistent end of season top 15, top 10 team. Now, has it ever resulted in one Big Ten championship?
Yeah.
Got to a semifinal last year and was in that game. So it's not like it's bad, but it is tiring if you are expecting or wanting a national championship because it's just they've never really sniffed it.
No.
And I think this proves that they probably won't. But they're still having fun. They're doing well. They're in the conversation, and there's a chance that it could go Tennessee sideways, right? Like that was a powerhouse, and there's other been big powerhouses that have taken plummets. So it's tricky. I get it. Like, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? I'm caught between like that. It's tough to win that national championship. I don't want to like give excuses, but at the same time, like it could get way worse.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
you know what I
It
mean? It's
could.
tricky. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
for them, I mean, but like I feel like I'm also the type of guy that says if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Like
Yeah.
if I am Penn State, like I think you know what you're getting with this guy, man. I mean, this is
Yeah.
by far the best team. We said last year's the best team that
That's
they had.
true.
Get all
Yeah.
those guys stick around. Like this is the best it's gonna get. Like
Hmm.
you might as well blow it up and like especially in college football, like blow it up and get someone new in there. Like, you know, like just it's so hard to, but like you have to like who's gonna want to play for Penn State? Like his tweet, like a big thing I think about in college football is what do the kids think?
Yeah.
Where are the streets of X thinking? He sent out that tweet. I feel like it was probably a heat check to see like, okay, like let's see, how people really feel about me right now. And I mean, he got ratioed to hell and back today. Like, I mean, who's gonna want to play for this bum?
Yeah, but it's tricky because like yes, when if you're the recruit that has an option of like Bama and Georgia and say even
Ohio State.
Oregon and Ohio State, like maybe you're not going to Penn State, but if you're a kid that got offered Florida, and that's another program that has struggled to get back to relevancy. If you're getting Ole Miss, if they're that tier below, and like yeah, you can make an argument to play at Beaver Stadium, to be at whiteouts, things to want to go there. But yeah, if you're looking to win a national championship, like I don't know that you're gonna feel confident about it. You know you're gonna get a shot. You're never
Mhm.
gonna be completely out of that conversation, but it's tough. You got to win a couple of these, right? I'd say Lanning was flirting with the same, issue where it's like, sure, he's great. He's a good coach. I know he hasn't been in Oregon for that long, but it was kind of if you wanted to win a national championship with him, like, he had to start that Ohio State. I get it. They were a powerhouse, and they ran over them in the playoff, but and obviously fortunate enough that Howard's a doofus and won in Eugene, but um, yeah, you kind of feel that with Lanning. Like they can't be a first game exit, or you're gonna start
Yeah.
hearing the same things about Lanning too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, you
It's been
you
so
you
long.
are so
So
confident
long with James
of
Franklin.
what he is now. There's so
Yeah.
much data there and opportunity to do more and even just have a year. And this was the team that was supposed to
Has
be the
not even been
stacked,
close.
right?
Like just
Yeah.
can't win the and like you've seen it. Like that's I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like with Lanning, he hasn't really won. I mean, he did win the Big Ten, but like, he
But
excuse me.
that was
Yeah.
arguably a lot have to do with Michigan, right? Like Michigan beating Ohio State and keeping them out of
Yeah.
that game because he played at Penn State, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it was a close game in Eugene with Howard, and the
Yeah.
idiocy of him letting that clock run out. But yeah, I don't want to take anything away from him. I think he's done better than Franklin, but you're gonna start to hear conversations about him
Yeah.
if they don't get to a certain point in the next couple of
I
years.
also I also don't know, like to your point, and you said this a bunch when we were at the game. Like I don't know what Kotelnicki's like. I don't know how like to your like James Franklin has to be somehow influencing Kotelnicki because this offense should not be that should not be doing what it's doing. Like the first play of their last drive, they did like a little swing pass. Like you
Yeah.
got to get down the field and you start with that. Like it just feels strange to me. And then also like something I started thinking about too, like I haven't been super like scared of Ohio State's defense for the past several years under Jim Knowles. I think I was pretty like, oh, getting Jim Knowles, like that's kind of a big deal. I'm kind of wondering, especially after watching UCLA run all over Penn State, I'm like, was that a steal? Like was that a good thing? Um,
Yeah,
really for the
I
Nittany
don't know
Lions?
what. Well, yeah,
Because like when Pete Golding left Alabama, I'm sure there were people that are Ole Miss. They're like, "Oh man, we got the Bama defensive coordinator." I was like, "Peace, see you, nerd," you know. And I'm wondering if Ohio State fans are feeling the same way about Knowles. If they're like, "Good, see ya." I mean, we'll see.
well,
We'll see
I
very
will.
soon.
Yeah, I will say this. I will say there is definitely a noticeable difference from the talent that Ohio State had on defense and the underachieving until Knowles was there, right? Like
Hmm.
they had too much talent, and maybe that's the difference, right? I think maybe we're underestimating how much talent that defense had last year on Ohio State,
Hmm.
and then maybe overestimating how much talent this Penn State defense has. Not to say that they don't have talent, but maybe there just is enough of a discrepancy. Again, I know like UCLA shouldn't have done that. I mean, you could probably argue that like UCLA shouldn't be as bad as they are too, right? Like there's probably a bit of both
Well, yeah,
going
I
on
mean,
there.
it helps that Nico finally looked like the player that he
Yeah,
was at Tennessee.
he
So,
was going to give a lot of people trouble that night. Now, whether he was going to beat them that badly and do that is the different question. But like he looked
yeah.
markedly better. Like you said, like looked like the first one. So yeah, I don't know. Kotelnicki, and I get it. Aller is not who they thought he was. That's fine. But they're in college,
I
especially.
also don't think Drew Howard did anything. Like, I didn't watch the whole game. I watched a bunch of highlights, but the highlights that I saw, there was nothing that I was like, well, Drew Howard really like gave this game away. It was
He
just
just
like,
he panicked. It got to a point where you could tell they felt that this game was like they were in trouble, and it was 1 second. put his head down. 1 second put his head down, which yes, I guess if other things aren't working, like it's better than just taking sacks or looking like a doofus.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just think in college football, when you have so many offenses, and I don't know if that's the thing at Penn State, you're trying to like, there is a recruiting tactic of saying, hey, we have a pro style. This is going to better suit you in the NFL.
Hmm.
And then there's offenses that are just like Tennessee's, where it's just like, fuck it. We're going to score points.
Yeah.
We're not going to prepare you at all for the NFL.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
if you want to score points
We
and look great,
ball.
right,
We
let's
ball.
do it. So I just have such a hard time believing that if okay, get it. You have a pro style offense, you have Aller. Like if you're gonna stick with him, you gotta find something he's doing better. You have to find a scheme. If you don't have the receivers on the outside, like again, college is the one place where you can do so much gimmicky shit that you can make players look so much better than they are. And it's not like Penn State's like has no talent. So that's where it gets me. And I don't know if it's just because they want to be a pro style, what the situation is there. But like even Kansas's offense isn't like it's not a pro style offense. So that's where I just don't know. That's where their mistake is. Like, okay, you're stuck with the Aller, you want to ride him out, fine. But then you got to make it way easier
Yeah.
than it is on him
Yeah.
and get people so wide open that, he can underhand it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just haven't now in their second
Hmm.
year. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not an offense coordinator, but I just see, and that always happens in Michigan State where I get frustrated where it's like, I see offenses at New Mexico that are scoring fucking 40 points a game. Like, can we have a little bit of that?
New
like,
Mexico, who beat UCLA.
come on.
Yeah. The only other one really worth talking about is Texas.
Didn't watch it. I think
Didn't watch it.
Papa Arch, Grandpa Arch was maybe on something that none of us wanted to hear or believe.
Mm.
Um, if Mateer was playing this week, boy, would it really sting me. I think I have to stay away because he's not. But like, damn, they they
Yeah.
they they're not who we thought they were at all.
Yeah, well, another case of a team just like all of a sudden, like, where was this DJ Lagway and this offense? And,
Yeah,
like, where was this, right? So,
yeah.
um, so Billy Napier saved the job. I did say the
He's
reason
he's
why,
really good at that, right on the
yes,
cusp, and he's just like, hold on, let me just give you a little tease.
a big
Let me just
reason
give
why I
you a
wanted
little
to mention Napier too was like, okay, stay with me now.
okay.
Uh, Billy
Oh wait,
Napier,
does Bama play Florida? Is
no,
this
no,
gonna
no,
be
no.
a
Billy
okay?
Napier goes to Texas. Sark goes to Penn State. James Franklin goes to Florida. Who says no?
Says
Who says no?
what a little like
Just a little wife swap.
switcheroony that would
Yeah.
be.
Maybe actually they just rotate every
Yeah.
year. They just rotate around. You just the coaching. That's how you do it in this NIL era. You get
Yep.
three coaches. If you don't have, your three coaches is better than one, right? And you just kind of keep rotating around, right? That's how they do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so wide open. Obviously now Bama has the chance to really like, coast down to the SEC championship game. It's,
Mm.
if you're asking me today, it's likely another Bama Georgia matchup. Just because like, yeah, I mean, Texas doesn't look good.
Well,
Oklahoma might have a chance if they can get Mateer back because he's got vibes and that defense is good. And there's some good teams, but like, yeah, like you can't trust Florida, even though their defense is elite. Like Tennessee, you can't quite trust yet. I don't even know
there's
who
gonna
else
be
really
there's gonna be a lot of fuckery
like
in
Ole Miss. Like I don't,
October.
I don't know if I
No,
trust Ole
there's
Miss.
gonna be there like Ole Miss is gonna fuck up.
Yeah,
But like there's gonna be a lot of fuckery. Like I it's just between I mean, if you look at like the meat of the SEC, it's like there's just so many teams that are capable of doing some really fucked up shit that like, like from I'm just like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Mizzou, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Bama, Auburn, South Carolina, even. It's like 10 teams right there. They're like all capable of doing some type of like crazy shit that could just like throw everything off. And I
yeah.
don't think that there's like when I
I think
look
it's
at the
more of a
big.
I was just
Well,
gonna
look at
say,
the
I think
big.
it's more of a testament that there isn't like a clear. We thought there was going to be that clear top four, and while Bama has looked the best, again, like they haven't looked like a Saban dominant.
Mhm.
Like you can literally like close your eyes and just worry about
Yeah.
SEC championship and beyond. Um, Not to say they're not good; they're very
Mhm.
good, and they're definitely a contender. But I think that's more it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, there is some feisty teams, but I think this is just a year where there isn't the top two, the
No.
clear cut. We thought there was going to be, right? We thought that to begin with, but there just isn't.
Yeah. No.
Um,
There. Yeah. And I mean, there's like if I look at the Big Ten, it's like Ohio State and Oregon.
yeah,
Like
clear.
Indiana, sure. Like for now, we'll
Illinois,
see.
nah, nah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But and then only other thing I'll say is go Red Raiders. Texas
yeah.
Tech, guns up.
See, that's what I gotta see though. That's like if you ask me today, I think it's clear that it's Ohio State and Miami, right?
Hmm.
Like as the top two teams in all of college football. Then there's like a next tier of like feisty, like
Hmm.
could win it, but they would need to play more consistent than they have. Those two have just consistently looked much better than every opponent, and they've
Yeah.
played good teams
Yeah.
too. Um, but that's what's going to make it fun because one bad day or one incredible day, and if they can figure out a way to get in, like they can like Carr is looking like arguably the best first year starter, maybe behind Simpson or equal to Simpson. Like he's looked really good. Obviously, they lost their two big games, but he's looking good and could look great at the end of the year. Obviously, Love's fantastic. Like, I don't know. I think this is still going to be an interesting playoff, but I think right now it's Miami and Ohio State mainly because those two defenses are just nasty.
It's gonna be a crazy October, I think, and it's gonna be a crazy. They just flexed Bama, Tennessee to a 6:30 Central kickoff.
6:30. That's
Central,
weird.
Central.
Oh, oh, sorry. We're speaking in Central Times.
I mean, that's what the announcement was. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh. So I'm very nervous. I'm worried.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to just most fandom. Like most teams are nervous playing ranked opponents. And yes, our ranked rival should make you even more nervous, but
My
just
tummy
welcome.
hurts.
Welcome to fandom.
My tummy hurts.
Welcome to normal people's fandoms.
I don't, I don't
I
like
tell
it.
you what, I don't think the people out in Eugene are feeling like 1,000% confident in Signetti coming to town.
Oh, I
Now it's going
wouldn't.
to be that this is a
I
good
wouldn't.
example. Like, are they better than last year? Because last year's team pissed down their leg anytime they
Hmm.
played anyone of note.
Hmm. Hmm.
This year, I don't know. Mendoza has experience in Power Five
Hmm.
competition, right? Coming
Yeah.
from Cal's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even the folks in Evanston are probably a little bit scared this week. In Evanston, Illinois, are probably they don't know if they're gonna get this one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think the people in Happy Valley are maybe a little bit more nervous about
oh no,
about what's
they're good. They're like whatever, tank for Arch.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Let them go.
Honestly, if you're a Penn State fan now at this point, you're probably just hoping that like
Yeah,
you do
something
just like the
catastrophic happens.
whatever it takes to get James Franklin out of here. Like that's could be how you're feeling at this point. So,
Listen, he went on his helicopter to go see his 5-star recruit at high school.
well, Potts.
We are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, I'm sorry, Penn State fans. That's the most. Obviously, everyone's heard we are. I had never known that you guys had that little cute little, Midwestern ending there. It sounds silly. It
It's
really
so
does. I'm sorry.
for a school that is half full of people from Philly. It's just
Right,
a
right.
weird thing. Like if you if you had told me that you got all these Philadelphians, they can't say that. They're
No,
not saying you're welcome. They're
no,
not adding in the thank you.
no.
You get a Philadelphian to throw in the thank you. It's like let's just do another we are and get out of here. So
Yeah, like at a Phillies game tonight, down 1-0 in the series. If someone were to throw "We Are," and you get a Penn State back and you get a thank you, you're likely to get more fuck yous or
Yeah.
shut the fuck ups than
Yeah.
you are gonna get like
I don't
your
even think
appropriate.
you'd get it if someone threw a "we are" at you. You'd probably go fuck yourself. That's probably what you get. We
Yeah,
are fucking terrible. Gonna fire James Franklin. That's what we
I
are.
yeah, I was gonna say that's probably where the
Yeah.
chant's gonna go.
Uh, uh,
Yeah, you guys should have seen our face when that like first couple times happened when we were in Happy Valley. We were like, "Whoa, excuse me? Like what is this? This
now
is a thing?"
I seem to remember a kid that I went to high school with who went to Penn State Altoona telling me about that. I was just like, he brought it up as something that was awesome. I'm like, that's lame as hell, bro. That's super lame. I think he was trying to argue Penn State was like the politest school in the country. I'm like, sick, sick
Right,
flex.
not something you really want to brag
Yeah,
about, one,
sick
and two.
flex.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship, awesome. Good for good for you.
Good for
The
you.
hand out natties for that. Yeah.
All right, it's time. Let's talk about this trophy. This has been a trophy that I have known about before we started the pod. I remember like clocking it one day and being both excited, then devastated because one of the two schools lost their football program and then they got it back. And it was like, oh, I remember that trophy. That's really cool. And so I've been like, ever since we started this pod, it's been something that was like, oh, I'm excited to eventually get there. Obviously, I knew it was going to take us a few years to get to these two schools. And once we did, I can just tell you, listeners, we've already been pretty long winded in our review here.
We happen.
But this is not only one of my favorites, it was better than I remember. And we have a lot of information on this
Oh,
history
good.
and story. So I will let you know when's a good time to take a break before we get really long winded into this. But guys, today we're talking about the Bones. This is the Battle for the Bones. This is a game played between the University of Alabama, Birmingham, the Dragons, and the University of Memphis Tigers. So, Mike, I'm sure you know what this is. I feel like it's usually one of the most unique, like if you look at a top five most unique college football trophies, it's usually one because it is so, out there. That's usually on it. So, do you know what this looks like?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I know it is, but it's been a
Okay.
while since I've seen it. So like
Yeah.
I am familiar with it, but like all the minutia of it, I
Okay.
don't recall. And I thought
Okay.
about like I was actually like mindlessly gonna be like, oh, I don't think how it looks like. I was like, wait, let's just
Don't
wait.
do it.
Yeah. So
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll hold off on telling people what exactly it is. But yeah, it's a good one. So why don't I start with a little bit of the history of the rivalry? So the first matchup was in 1997. Memphis won the game 28-7. And then Memphis won
did you
the
clarify the schools between it? Did you clarify? Did you say it's a game between the Memphis Tigers and the
yeah.
UAB? Okay, sorry, I was looking something up. I didn't know if you said that. I forgot to mention the Fighting Trent Dilfers, of
Okay.
because you were gonna say the UAB Blazers. I was gonna say the Fighting Trent Dilfers, but I missed that joke. All right, anyways, go ahead. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Uh,
Go ahead, push it
yes.
to you.
So after Memphis won the first couple matchups, the UAB won the next seven in a row. So the series is UAB leads 10 wins to seven losses.
I would not have guessed that at all. That's how it was split. I mean, because I guess when I've really been paying attention, like, well, yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I don't know. I guess I just always thought Memphis was good. Anyways, all right. 10-7. Wow.
Yes. So why don't we start with a little bit of a small school spotlight here? So we'll start with the University of Alabama, Birmingham. This is the birthplace of Veterans Day. So Birmingham is the city in which Raymond Weeks, a World War II veteran, originated the idea to expand Armistice Day into a day honoring all veterans, which later was recognized nationally. So it was kind of a little cool
Yeah.
little thing. Next is they in the Birmingham skyline there is the Vulcan statue and park, which is a 56-foot cast iron statue of Vulcan, which is the Roman god of fire and forge, and is the largest of its kind in the world and symbolizes the city's industrial heritage. It also offers some panoramic views of downtown and features an accompanying museum. So why don't you scroll down and take a look at what this bad boy looks like?
Oh, that's I okay. I thought it was gonna just I was in my mind, I'm like, how big is this guy gonna be? But it's a big tower with a guy at the top. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty sick. That's pretty cool.
It's like unique, right? Like you
Yes, it
you maybe
is.
expect that on like a college campus, like a statue so grandiose, but for like a town to have a really like menacing looking statue,
Yeah, because he's
um,
got like his thing he uses for the forge in
yeah,
his right arm. Yeah, it's kind of menacing. Yeah.
right. Like
Uh,
if you were like when was I don't know if I have when it was built, but if you're like a thinking about invading Birmingham, you probably see that statue and you're like, I don't know, this is probably not for
you know
us.
what? I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna hard pass. It looks pretty modern. I mean, I think it would
Yeah.
had to like this. Yeah, it looks quite modern. I don't think this is something that would have been built pre 1900.
No, no, yeah, I don't think so either. I want to say like it's been updated. I mean, you can see the second picture has some scaffolding and stuff.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's like brand new. I wish I would have written it down. I don't remember when it was, but definitely been there for a few years. If I had to guess, probably a couple decades.
Hmm.
Next, Sloss Furnaces. So this is a national historic landmark.
Hmm.
This is the a former iron producing blast furnace, which is now a museum and an event venue celebrating again what we had mentioned before, Birmingham's steel legacy. So that's pretty cool as well. They also have the Barber Vintage Motorsports Museum, which is the largest motorcycle museum, the world's largest motorcycle museum, and it houses an incredible collection of motorcycles, racing cars, and is located at the Barber Motorsports Park.
Neat.
Now, a little
Neat.
bit, yeah, it was kind of a unique thing.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I've
Yeah.
never really thought about Birmingham, Alabama, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
when you're thinking about it, like to have,
Very gritty. A lot of gritty
yeah,
things happening.
yeah, I guess I don't know, especially obviously living in Pittsburgh, like you just
Yeah.
always associate steel and things like that
Right.
in this area, but
Yeah,
not
with
the deep
Birmingham. Yeah.
South, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And then a couple of game day things. So they have the Dragonfire entrance. So the mascot Blaze the Dragon, and the football team often runs into the field with some pyrotechnics and fire effects to match their dragon theme. And the fire breathing imagery has also become a part of just like their overall game day identity, which kind of makes sense. If you're
Nice.
gonna have a mascot like that, you kind of have
Yeah.
to lean into that, and obviously your city's history. And then they have a really cool tradition as well, like a powerful one. So it's a children's harbor game. So they have one time each season, players wear the names of patients from the Birmingham Children's Harbor, which is a nonprofit serving seriously ill children. And they put them on the backs of their jerseys. And this is a signature event that brings together, football, community, and philanthropy. So it kind of reminded me similar to like the Wave in Iowa, right, with the children's hospital that overlooks
Right.
Kinnick. So I thought that was a pretty cool tradition
Yeah.
that they have as well. On to Memphis. So the colors. So they're blue and gray, and the mascot is a tiger. And these were chosen in remembrance of the Civil War. And it was supposed to symbolize the unity between the North and the South. That's why it was chosen.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
I always wonder why they were blue and gray tiger.
there you go.
Okay. That makes
Trying to bridge
sense.
that gap, right? They were kind of
Yeah.
like probably on that borderline,
They're
right?
right on the
Of
line there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they also have the FedEx Institute of Technology. So this is a key research hub for cutting edge fields such as supply chain management, nanotechnology, robotics, and intelligence systems as well,
Hmm.
which is something I guess I never associated with Memphis.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They also have the C.H. Nash Museum at Chucalissa. So this is an archaeological museum and national historic landmark. It preserves Mississippian platform mounds and features a replica Native American dwelling and galleries of ancient regional lifeways. So these Mississippian platform mounds, they were circa 1000 to 1500 AD. So these are like long, long time ago.
Yeah.
They also
Not
are,
that long ago in the great grand scheme of things, you know?
well, I mean, yeah, but pretty long, I guess. I mean, when were the first civilizations? Like,
Oh, buddy.
how
First
many years
civilizations
before death? Like a
before,
thousand? I really like.
oh, wait,
I
whoa,
know
whoa,
like
whoa, 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 whoa. What'd you say? Did you say before death?
like
What do you think
AD
AD stands for?
before Christ. I get, yeah, after death, right?
No. No, it doesn't stand for after death. It was if it was after death,
Before
it
Christ.
would start it's before Christ. AD
Yeah.
does not stand for after death. If that were
Oh,
the
what is it?
case, it would start when he turned 33. It's AD stands for,
Oh,
you don't know this? It stands for Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. So it starts when he was born,
born.
the year of our Lord. Yes, Anno
Oh,
Domini is in the year of
yeah.
our
I
Lord in Latin.
yeah. I guess I just also assumed
Wow.
it was. Well, if he
Wow.
ruined before he was born, I just assumed it
Well,
was
but
like
after death, like God,
he didn't live very long, right? You just got done
it's like,
saying.
well, let's start this new calendar now.
Well, I
All
mean,
right,
it's
he's
pretty.
dead. New calendar. Like,
I
what?
mean, it's also pretty like crazy that we keep time based off of like a very specific religion, right? Like that's also a
Wow.
pretty bizarre way to keep track of
Well,
time.
all right.
So
Well, but
excuse
then
me if I.
now we're getting into the people who made the calendar. The Julian Roman Empire and everything like that, and then you can get into the whole concept of the Roman Empire really never fell. It became a bank, or it became the church, and then the British Empire never really fell. It became the bank, and the U.S. Empire is really the military, and there's that. I mean, we're this is a different podcast that we're talking about, but yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
it's
a
still
very
pretty
interesting.
wild that everyone. I mean, I guess it's just because I assume the countries of power just like forced everyone in. But I'm gonna go on a limb and say there are probably a bunch of countries that don't really recognize or care about Christianity. So to have
Well,
like the
but no, but
entire like history based off of
look at the
an
civilized
individual.
world, right? And like where it really, the reign that these empires had, right? I mean, when you look at like other empires that came in too. So this is okay. Well, so I just listened to another podcast recently with like the actually right before I came to pick you up for the tailgate, talking about like the best empires. And it's funny because like, the Roman Empire really was like, okay, congratulations. Like now you're part of the Roman Empire, right? And really forced that stuff on you. Whereas like the Mongol Empire, right? Like Genghis Khan, when they came in, they were just like, yeah, whatever, like whatever you're into, like we're cool with that too, you know. So it's just it's very interesting that like that like even though they dominated, people still kept their culture. And the Mongols also, there's a very interesting book that I want to read too that talks about like the influence that the Mongols had on the modern world because like they invented paper currency. They invented and they actually kept and preserved a lot of like relics, right? Like a lot of those Mongol empires, not just Khan, but the other ones, like, or not just Genghis Khan, but the other empires, like preserved relics, right? And they were able to, like, instead of like completely razing, they razed some cities to the ground, but they preserved a lot of things. But then the Roman Empire just like spread, like, there's that saying, all roads lead to Rome, because if you look at a map, all roads do lead to Rome. Like if you trace it, it's like, yeah, they just all end up down there. So like the ways in which they spread transportation and everything like that, they also spread their culture and philosophy and religion. And if you were just a pagan within the woods, it's like congratulations, you're a Christian now, and here is the calendar. And
Yeah, I'm sure it went that
let me tell you about it.
cordially. Yeah.
Well, once they killed all their fighters, then yeah, it's like, well, welcome. Yeah. Well, welcome on in.
Yeah. Okay, well, good to
Mhm.
know. I mean, honestly, I really haven't thought too much about it. I just
Anno
get told
Domini, my man.
this is 2000, 25. I get told that it was that point in time was, I guess, so impactful enough to say, hey, we need to delineate between before and after.
If it was after death, we'd still be in the 90s, which is kind of sick when you think about it.
Sure. I mean, I mean, that would be cool, but then the 90s would really be the 60s,
Yeah.
and the 60s would really be the 30s.
Yeah, I just think it'd be sick if we were in the 90s again. It's pretty ripping time.
All right. So the last two things about Memphis, the Mighty Sound of the South. So they have it's their marching band, and they are play a very central role in their game day traditions, including playing or performing their fight song called the Tiger Rag. Then they also have Tiger Walk. Like most schools, they have that walk before, which happens 2.5 hours before kickoff. The team with the Mighty Sound, the South, they walk down Tiger Lane into the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and fans line the path cheering. And they also have their TIGERS spell out of Tigers.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay, back to the history of the rivalry. So this is coming straight from the University of Alabama Birmingham's website.
Nice. Love that.
So UAB and Memphis have a history. When legendary coach Gene Bartow arrived in Birmingham in 1978, he was recruited from the big time UCLA at the time, and he
Hmm.
had already demonstrated some small school magic by taking what was then Memphis State University to the NCAA tournament championship game in 1973. And he in 1984, with Bartow as the coach, UAB met Memphis on the basketball court for the first time, and then each year the schools and the fans had these matchups circled on their calendar. So you kind of had this legendary coach. He was on it looks like the cover of Sports Illustrated in 1978, and yeah, so he was just a really big deal in college basketball at the time, and obviously coming from Memphis going to Birmingham, it was a bit of a rivalry to start off, which makes sense. Obviously Memphis is more known to be a basketball school, and UAB has lost their football programs at times, so definitely more of a basketball school as well. So they had their, like I mentioned, their first match was 1997. That was their first inaugural football matchup. So they had played in other sports, like I had mentioned leading up to that, but they didn't play in football until 97. Um, but this time it was without that shared father figure in Gene Bardo. So the rivalry didn't have quite the same energy.
Mhm.
So a gentleman by the name of Sam Miller, which we are going to get to know and probably love by the end of this episode. He was the owner of Champ Creative Company in Birmingham and was a former associate athletic director for the marketing department within the UAB. And he
Okay.
was an alum of UAB as well. So he said, we had this very intense but friendly rivalry between the two schools. He said we were selling out basketball games, but our job was to bring as much relevance to the football, to UAB football, as much as possible, and wanted to tap into all of that fun with the existing rivalry that they had with Memphis, and just the idea that like college football had, all these fun rivalries that we've talked about over
Mhm.
the years. So that is a bit of the origin of this trophy. So why don't you scroll down before I get really long-winded into it and tell the people what the bones looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, see, I remember differently view in my mind's eye. So, I mean, folks, when you think of the bones, you think of a lot of things. You think of the night the skeletons came to life, and the bones are their money.
Mhm.
Uh, it's their currency. Um, but it's a big old rack of ribs, folks. It's just a big old massive slab of ribs. Uh, beef ribs, pork ribs. Do we know which one this is modeled after? Beef or pork ribs?
We do. I
Okay.
believe we get into that later. I don't
Okay.
remember, but I'm
So
pretty sure we do.
it's big old like bronzed like a what would you call that, EJ? Like
It would be bronze.
yeah, bronzed rack of ribs. And it's like kind of like just a full rack of bronze ribs. The attention to detail is impeccable here. And that sits on a big like bronze stone uh base, and it says Battle for the Bones football winner, and then it has the year and then the school's name next to it. It's very simple, it's very elegant. It looks like something that Vulcan may have forged once upon a time. Um yeah. Yeah, it's dope. I dig it.
So, according to the website again, UAB's website, in 2006, the rivalry was elevated with the introduction of this unique trophy, a 100-pound, 2 foot by 2 foot bronze rack of ribs, symbolizing the rich barbecue traditions of both Birmingham and Memphis. The trophy was created by Sloss Metal Arts artist Heather Spencer as part of a broader effort to draw attention to UAB and Birmingham's connection to barbecue culture. It was intended to be an eye-catching and thematic, even including a barbecue competition along with the game.
Oh,
And if you
yeah.
remember that name, Sloss, this was forged with those furnaces that were now,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
museum. All right, guys, this is the time. If you need to grab a drink, if you need to go to the bathroom, this is story time. This is where we always complain about this, where we never get a lot of history. And while this history of the rivalry isn't quite what other schools is, the history of how the rack of ribs came about is pretty incredible. And thankfully, um, they there is a very in-depth article written, and I swore I put it down. I will double check. I want to say this was also from UAB's website, because I didn't denote otherwise. So I will make sure that if it wasn't from the website, I think it was like a blog, a small blog piece on the website itself, that told this history. So are you ready for this?
I am ready.
Okay. So Sam Miller, like we mentioned, was the UAB alumnus. Um, he was thinking, okay, each city has this rich barbecue history. Why not have a barbecue contest? So remember, he was tasked with trying to bring some juice to the football program when he worked at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And so he thought initially about having a barbecue competition. And he said, as that idea evolved, we said, let's really go all in and try and create the most unique trophy in all of sports. And he said, we'll tie it into the barbecue competition and the city's barbecue history. But there was one problem. He says, I don't know the first thing about barbecue other than I like to eat it.
Same, brother.
Same.
Same.
He said, starting from absolute scratch to put together a barbecue competition that we wanted to become a major event was certainly a learning curve.
Mm.
And then there was the trophy. He said, we set out to make something outlandish, but in a very fun way that would bring some character to the game, get a lot of attention outside of Birmingham and Memphis. The idea came pretty quickly. Then it was just a matter of figuring out how to build a 2 foot wide rack of ribs that was so heavy that an entire offensive line would struggle to pick it up together.
I
Yeah,
I love it.
Sam Sam's one of our guys.
Yeah,
He's
he is one. He's one of us.
he's one of us.
Yeah.
Um, so luckily, Miller had a contact in the trophy business, sort of. So this is now Heather Spencer Holmes, who I mentioned was the actual artist that created the trophy itself. She said, "My husband is in video production in town and used to work with Sam on a lot of football commercials." Um, and she said, "We want sorry these quotes go in and out of like quotes and then story, but she
Mm.
said she knew Sam through her husband, and Sam approached her because at the time she was working at the Sloss furnaces that I'd mentioned before, and was also the art studio supervisor at the Department of Art and History at UAB, and is still a metal artist to this day. And Sam approached her and said, "We want a giant rack of ribs as a trophy." And Heather said, or Sam had said, "I know this will be the weirdest phone call you have all day. I guarantee it." And she laughed and said, "All right, let's give it a try." So the hardest part of this was getting like a cast, and that's one of the things that Heather had said to Sam. Like usually they need some sort of mold, but Heather was like, it was really hard to find a full set of ribs that was as large as they wanted. And so Sam says it can't be a rack of ribs like you'd get at Piggly Wiggly. It had to be this giant thing. We kept pushing and pushing to make it as big as possible, but we had to have an actual sculpture to build the trophy from. So he wound up at Southeastern Meats in Bessemer, Alabama, toothpicking together multiple ribs to make one gigantic ribs that are now the trophy.
I was gonna say I've never. That's why I didn't know if it was beef ribs or because I've never seen a rack of ribs this girthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he hand put together, toothpicked together multiple rack of ribs and took what he describes as this beautiful, gross, stinking Frankenstein to Heather, and she made the cast and poured it in. So she said, I made plaster molds of this raw meat, which was pretty gross. Still wasn't sure of what it was going to look like, but once I had made the molds, then I made wax replicas of the meat and I could play around with how big they needed to be and figure out the base part of it.
Okay.
Then she says, I got a brilliant idea to make molds of some clean bones for those to use as handles to support the trophy as well.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You can tell there down at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So when you guys see a picture of this, if you haven't already, like it looks imperfect, and a lot of that is because it was really made from raw rib meat.
Yeah, yeah. And the handles being the bones too is pretty.
I mean, if the bones are their money, the handles can be the bones
The
too,
handles can
right?
be the bones too. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the metal was poured. It happened at Sloss. It put an overall process. It took a hardcore 2 weeks is what Heather estimated. And the base was actually wood. Once everything was assembled, I made a sand mold and then was able to pull the wooden box out. And I had the imprint of it. And the mold went into the kiln, and we had melted all the wax off and reassembled the mold. And we had a hollow form of the trophy, which is a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering like this is just such a rant. Like, could you imagine right now if you worked? I'm trying to think like how this would equate to us, but just like to have a friend, like your husband's friend, your wife's friend, say, "Hey, I know you're an artist. I need you to, make a mold of something out of raw meat," and for her to just be like, I'm fucking in, right? And I'm gonna take 2 weeks to do this for you. Like,
Well, it's
she's
such an
also one of
interesting
us.
project. Like I keep looking at it because they keep looking at the details and the attention to detail here, and it's like it's great because it does look raw and unfinished. Like even like the base isn't like the most polished thing in the world, but like
Mhm.
I love that. I think it's great for the cities of Birmingham and Memphis, and you can just tell that like the labor of love that really
Yeah.
was this thing. Like I'm even trying to figure out, okay, where did he toothpick these things together? Like, okay, I think probably like
Especially on like the right side of the picture,
yeah,
right?
like
Like,
on the top two on the right, that was definitely a separate slab. But then the next one, two, three, four to the left of it, that had to be a slab. And then okay, maybe three, two. I don't, like it's just so funny to look at, and think about that.
yeah, because I mean, like I remember it being a rack of ribs, but like I don't remember really looking at it and
Yeah.
really like understanding the not only detail to it, the size of it, right? But there's more. So as I said, it was a hollow form of the trophy, but hollow does not mean light. So Sam says, when we came back and saw the reveal, it was amazing. We thought it was going to weigh 30 or 40 pounds, but when we tried to pick it up, it was close to 100. And that absolutely adds lore to the trophy as well.
Yeah.
So, he's thinking, I need something big. Ideally, it's just like, I need something, right? And then for him to be like pleasantly surprised at the weight of it was pretty cool. But here's the thing. Miller reached out to the counterparts at Memphis. So he says, we kind of ran before we walked with this. We were just operating on the
Oh.
assumption that, of course, they would want to play along and be a part of this. But Memphis declined to participate, although they were polite about it. So we just did it anyway, is what Sam says. Well, we're done anyway. So before the game, UAB paraded the trophy around the stadium, and he says, we made it a show to force the idea that it was going to happen. We had it outside the end zone, and the UAB ROTC guarded it. And he said, I had this fear throughout the whole game that if we didn't win the trophy, it might still be sitting there the next morning. But he says, we did win. The team ran over and grabbed it, and it was exciting. So this dude just went through all of the trouble, which kind of sounds like something we would do.
Yes.
Created this trophy, asked Memphis, "Hey, we have this trophy. It's already done. You want in?" And they said, "No, thanks." And he was just at this
Yeah,
game. At
well, I'm
least he
done,
got to
guys.
go to the game and attend, unlike some of these other trophies.
Yeah.
And was just praying that UAB won because at least he had like friends and stuff that would be hype about it.
Hmm.
And luckily he did. And he said it was much heavier than expected. And he says, or this was Heather. She said, I'll never forget the look on the center's face when he went to pick it up. And that's, she obviously was Sam's guest at the game. It took several of them to get it. So going back to kind of the big day here. That was the big day. Sorry. Um, so we had talked about or you had mentioned, okay, so to finish off this part of it before we get to the next
I just
part.
love it when a plan comes together. I'm so happy for Sam and Heather.
Well, and this was even a bigger key here is this was 2006. So there's no social media to spread the news.
Mhm.
And Sam says it went viral the old fashioned way. Once photos of it began to leak all over out over the weekend, it really began getting a lot of attention as this quirky new tradition. And he ended up getting interview requests from college football towns around the country. It was such a big deal they ended up getting a call from the U.S. Today to talk about it.
Oh,
So it kind
nice.
of, yeah. So it's like the viral part of that, especially back then, is kind of what forced Memphis's hand in joining along.
And gosh, man, like if Memphis would have won, like would it have gone viral? Like would they have cared? Like would they have gone to pick it up and be like, this is way too heavy. You guys keep it? Like, yeah.
There's a good chance that he would have just personally tried to carry that home and maybe tried again the next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of a
Yeah.
perfect storm that I believe this game was in Birmingham too, so it maybe you would have had to have waited potentially 2 years, right? Because if they
Mm.
took it to Memphis, they would have been like, sick, bro. Like
Yeah.
you can't get on
Yeah.
the field
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah, they
Right.
probably wouldn't even have put it down there. So
Yeah.
a couple of things had to break the right way, which
Yeah.
thankfully they did. So now let's get to the barbecue contest. So on one side of the base, the trophy has the football results. On the other side is the other project, the Battle for the Bones barbecue competition. So to
Oh.
make things even better, teams from Birmingham that win the professional and the amateur barbecue competitions are also listed on the trophy on the other
No
side.
way.
So the point of the Bones Trophy and the associated events was always to attract attention to UAB in Birmingham. And when the Washington Post wrote about it, about the UAB's move to the American Athletic Conference, the columnist mentioned Birmingham and Memphis' status as two of the United States premier barbecue hubs.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was always a dream of them that led to the first and only set of giant ribs that was made, was to have this also competition, right? And the Sloss had had its own barbecue festival, and residents had made trophies for this as well. And so it wasn't Heather's first creative, trophy that needed to be made while she was working at Sloss.
Hmm.
And so I think she had made, let's see here, we had made a summer youth student who had a wax replica of one of the furnaces. So we would cast those for the Sloss barbecue trophies. So they'd have, that was kind of a cool little trophy too to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Um, So this is where another UAB voice kind of comes to the story. Chris Savage. So he was a certified nurse anesthesiologist. Yeah, I think that's what that. Yeah, at UAB Hospital, and was a three-time alum as well, earning his bachelor's degree in nursing, also his nurse anesthetist,
And,
anesthetist,
and
and
nurse
yeah.
anesthetist.
Yes, anesthesis. Oof,
It's a
ooh.
hard word to
That's
say.
hard to say
Yeah.
without the
That's why I
jello
didn't
shots.
do it. That's why I didn't go into that because I was like, "Ah, I can't really say it."
Sorry,
Yeah.
nurses. Excuse us for not knowing how to say a word that is I've never needed to say in my life. So he had that master's degree in 2004, and also got a doctorate of nurse practicing. See, why can't it just like be that way? Why does it got to be fancy? Just he's a doctor of nurse practices. Great.
Yeah.
In 2016. So back in the early 2000s, there used to be this big. This was Savage. Sorry, excuse me. So this is from his point of view. He's talking now. So Chris says there used to be this big barbecue contest at Sloss Furnaces. I went year one as a spectator, and the next year, my brother and I entered as a team. We have been competing since 2010 and have won a couple of local competition. Their name was Savage Brothers Barbecue,
Nice.
which, yeah, I mean, if you have like a name like that,
Yeah.
unless
That
you're
works.
Fred and Ben, right? Savage.
Oh, from the Wonder Year. Yeah. Yeah. Fred
Yeah,
and Ben.
Wonder
Yes.
Years and Boy Meets
Yes.
World is Fred and Ben.
Yes.
I believe
Uh-huh.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fred
Um,
Savage. Wonder Years. Ben Savage. Boys. Anyways, go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
yes. Also, Fred Savage. Mole, mole, mole,
Mo.
mole, mole.
Mo.
Don't talk about the
Chop
bowl.
up. Make some guacamole sauce.
Also,
Oh.
side note, I used to love those movies growing up, and I watched
Oh.
them like it's like a teenager, and I watched them again. I don't know if I should have been watching them as a teenager. I also didn't realize they were parodies of like James Bond. I just thought it
Oh.
was just
Okay.
like a funny spy thing. Like I was a
Yeah. Yeah.
teenager and
Yeah.
didn't really realize, hadn't really watched too many James Bond movies. So, but I have the DVDs still, and I watched just the original one, the international. Is that the
Air,
Spy Who Shagged Me?
no, International
That's
Man
the
of
second one.
Mystery, then Spy
Yeah.
Who Shagged Me, then
Okay.
Gold
And then
Member.
Gold
Yeah.
Member. Yeah. I watched that the other day and it was like, it just made me laugh. It'd been
Oh,
so
holds
long
up.
since I'd
Holds
watched
up.
them. Yeah.
International Man of Mystery and Spy Who Shagged Me. I watched both of those within the past couple years. Yeah. Holds up for sure.
So the Savage Brothers entered the Battle for the Bones competition. And in 2006, they did it several times. He said the best that we did was fourth. But he said we liked it anyway. It was fun. Barbecue and football, what's not to like? And winning the Battle for the Bones barbecue title, like picking up the bones themselves, is a heavy lift. Sam said the first thought we had would get all of the restaurants in Memphis and Birmingham to come together. A bunch of them said they would bring trailers and cooks. We thought we would attract people to Legion Field to come and taste this incredible variety of barbecue, but we quickly learned that people who do this professionally and go to tournaments are an entirely different league when it comes to really specializing in this. The way they showed up to spend a couple of days preparing, having fun was really something to see. And that kind of changed how things moved forward. So he was just kind of like, oh, yeah, restaurants, please come and do this. And these barbecuers are like, come on, son.
Yeah. No, this is a competition trophy.
Right. Right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And we get to, make this incredible food for people and get to experience other people's food. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit more than what he had bargained for, but in the best way.
Mm.
So he said the UAB team put a lot into the barbecue contest. Sam said we had a really competitive prize money. We wanted this to be something that would attract the best teams. By the second time we had it in Birmingham, we had teams from Memphis and like other parts of Alabama, but also people coming from across the Southeast who didn't even have ties to either school.
Oh wow.
So the future of the rivalry is a bit unclear as Memphis joined the American Conference in 2013 during the 2010 to 2013 Big East Conference realignment. However, the series continued semi-regularly in basketball after the Tigers departed from Conference USA. However, in October 2021, the UAB Blazers accepted an invitation to join the American Athletic Conference, thus renewing the trophy and the rivalry as a regular conference matchup.
Hmm.
So we will continue to get this on an annual basis. Mike, this is the end. I can tell you that, and I think I might have mentioned this on the pod, but when I had put on my bucket list of like college football places to go. I had it kind of the big guys, some of the small school things, some of the unique like trips that I want to do. Honestly, excuse me. Honestly, after reading this one, I just feel like we have to go to Birmingham. We have to get to this game specifically in Birmingham because it's just a bit more of an intimate town than Memphis, and I feel like we've got to not only go to the game, but we've got to hit up this competition and just eat barbecue.
You don't got to twist my arm to eat some barbecue, man. You do not got to twist my arm to eat some barbecue. I'll tell you that. I think the only problem with going to a big barbecue festival is like you really got to prep your stomach for that because it's like you're gonna want to have. It's like it's one of those things like you're gonna want like I'm gonna want so many plates of stuff. It's like you can't. You can fill up real quick. I don't want to do that. So like that's gonna be probably the biggest shout. Might have to go twice because I might have to go once, figure out how much my stomach can handle as a limit, and then pace myself a little bit better going forward. Because it's not like it reheats well either. You just
Oh
gotta
no.
yeah,
No,
gotta have it
listen, you
fresh.
you got to give it like a Brazilian steakhouse kind of treatment where you just don't
Yeah,
eat for a while.
yeah.
And then you just have to be super disciplined about like one bone from this person.
Hmm.
You're going to have multiple for extra, but you got to have one bone here, one bone there, one
Hmm.
bone here, and then,
Yeah,
once you've had all of them,
yeah,
then you just,
yeah, yeah.
gorge yourself in the rest of them.
And I love brisket too. So like that's certainly why I would be going out and hunting down, which is even harder for me to control myself around. So
Okay. That's all I got for you guys with the bones.
that I just love the passion behind it, man. I love that they got lucky, like all of the factors kind of came in their favor. I love the size of it, the weight of it, like just awesome. Like nice to see, some passion kind of put into this project. And interesting about how, the schools kind of came together. It's like, yeah, friendly rivalry and let's add a little something extra to it. So With that being said,
It's, as I say,
oh
it's kind
yeah,
of hard for like if you're in Memphis. So you obviously have this guy that's associated with the University of, with UAB. So it made it a bit easier to get buy-in there, especially because he was on the marketing team. So there was a bit of a business purpose, even though regardless how outlandish it was. Um, but like if you're Memphis, especially after, well, even if someone presents that to you, you just say yes, regardless.
yeah,
One,
yeah,
Matthew McConaughey, green lights. You
yeah,
say yes.
yeah. Give people green lights.
Second, you had no choice. As soon as it went viral, you had
Mhm.
to lean in.
Yeah,
And it was a good point. I really like that it did go viral in a very organic way because it's just kind of that's always going to preserve um, just like the importance and relevance of that trophy for that
yeah,
rivalry,
yeah.
right? And obviously, it's freaking awesome.
Mhm. Mhm. All right, time for our game.
Yeah, I mean, I already know where this is going to go.
I figured
I
you
already know
would.
how this is going to go.
I figured you would. Uh, okay, let's get ready. First up, the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Bones, or a rib. We are going food themed. First off, when you see better. So here we are with the Egg Bowl.
Yeah, I just remember being like surprised at the egg not being an egg.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just kind of being a football, an old
Mm-hmm.
school football. I will say though, as far as trophies go, this one's actually pretty solid for being more of like a traditional-ish
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
Um, I do like that it's called the Egg Bowl, which is hilarious, but we got to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Next up, the Heartland Trophy.
Oh, Floyd with the balls cut off.
Mm-hmm. Floyd with the balls cut off. Yes, a big old bull. Looks a lot like our boy Floyd, but with the
I think
castration.
it's inspired by Floyd.
Yes, and the snout just on the ground. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think it's hilarious that I think the initial trophy had balls.
Yes.
Which I think that's just a fun little like lore
Gelded.
to add to that. Um, but yeah, it is a bit, Timu um, Floyd. So
Team move Floyd. Yep. Yep.
we're gonna keep going.
Third one that already was on this list and stopped in your mind, stopped another trophy, the Iron Skillet. So it's not the best quality picture as the previous one was, but it is pretty funny with this dude just leaning right into the camera here. So
Yeah, yeah, they're pumped.
yeah.
I love how excited they are over just like a skillet. I
Mhm.
love it. That's what just makes college football so great. Got to keep going, man. That's a classic, but we're talking about 100-pound rack of ribs,
We're talking about big ribs.
big ribs.
Hmm. Hmm. So we gotta pull out the big one. Big
Go
Meech,
ahead.
Larry Hoover. Floyd. Floyd.
So I've honestly I've thought about this potential. And because I have nothing better to do in my life than constantly think about rivalry trophies and where I would rank them if
Hmm.
I was ever asked to give, serious opinion on things. This is truthfully hard because this the Bones is so unique. It has such a good tie to the schools that are involved. I love that it has a barbecue competition
Hmm.
attached to it, and that is incorporated in the trophy. So now, mind you, we're never gonna be. I mean, obviously, UAB can play spoiler this year to Memphis. So this is gonna be potentially one of the only times that this rivalry could be relevant in the college football landscape. While I mean, I guess Iowa and Minnesota really aren't super relevant in the grand scheme of things either,
Hmm.
but a bit more relevant. I think I gotta go with the Bones, man.
Really?
I do think this one surpasses Floyd for me
Clears Floyd. Wow.
barely, barely. But I think these are one and two. I would even say I mean this pushes Paul down for me. Paulie B.
Whoa.
This is now now mind you, I obviously love Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
I care about it. I care about it the most. But
Yes.
as far as what I would say is my favorite rivalry trophy, it's it's the Bones. It's the Bones. It's Floyd. It's Paulie B.
Wow. Those are your top three favorite, huh?
Yep.
I don't know what my top favorite ones are. I'd have to think about that.
I know. I honestly, when I did this, I was like, I know you're gonna pull Floyd out, and I thought about it just because I was
Yeah.
truthfully, as soon as I saw this again out, and then the story behind it, they molded it with fucking real meat,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
and then then you just like
But
the
Floyd was a real
romantic.
pig.
It
Floyd
was.
was a
I
real
know.
pig.
That's what I mean. So that's why those two are like I would even say a tier above Paulie B for me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that means a lot to me. It's a unique trophy, but like they're a step above because there were real pigs then like that were actually exchanged, and then they're like maybe we shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this bronze pig. They have a I think they still have that big statue that they created for this, right? Like it's tough, but I really think I think it's the barbecue competition. But it's hard not to get romantic about it. It's
Yeah.
created by the Sloss Furnaces, which has like deep, rich history for Birmingham. Yeah, I know this is tricky for me, but I think this is the top.
Let it clear it. Yeah. Yeah.
hmm Barely. Those
Mm-hmm.
two are definitely the tops. And what I would do to one day hold, see if we could both hold them together, right? Like the two
Oh,
of us lifting those two. That would be that would be an incredible day
it would
if
be.
we can get to see Floyd in these bones.
It truly would be. It truly would be. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you make some really salient points there about the effort that was put into this, the creativity around it. And it's like just hard to replicate, man. Like
No.
what are you gonna do? You know? Are you gonna have like, you know, like University of Rhode Island and Rutgers play for like a slice of pizza? Or UConn and
Right.
Rutgers.
Right. Yeah.
UConn and Rutgers, right? So yeah. Yeah.
Well, and a part of this too, like I love that it was just like one of us that created that. Like I get he had ties, but like for someone to just be like, we need a rivalry trophy. We understand that, right?
Yeah.
You guys listen to our Beyond Bragging Rights episode. We are with you where there's so much tradition being taken out of college football. And for someone to have the thoughts that wasn't driven, I think what it was initially the governors of each state that started kind of the Floyd as
Mhm.
an example, which later morphed
Groundswell.
into
I
that
mean that's why I love the
beautiful pig.
Cyhawk. It's a
Yeah.
groundswell of the people that made a movement happen. So
So yeah, I do love that part of it too. But I mean, it's just so unique, right? Like a
yeah.
big bronze pig and a big bronze rack of ribs. Yeah, those two, those two are great. So this game will be played. After looking at the schedule, I'm kind of kicking myself for not. It's being played in 2 weeks, so it is happening this year. There's another rivalry game that's happening the same week, and that was the one I opted to have on our schedule the week of. But honestly, this kind of works out better because now we get 2 weeks to talk about it with you guys to remind you to look at this game because, especially Memphis being ranked, this game will be played on ESPN. So October 18th in Birmingham, 4 p.m. on ESPN2. So you guys will definitely get to watch this game. It will likely be hyped up because Memphis, um, along with the South Florida, are currently the front runners to be the group of five representative in the college football playoff. So yeah, UAB at home has a chance to play
Hmm.
spoiler to a rival, and man, I feel like that would add quite a bit of wrinkle to that if they're able to not only beat them, but to also take home that rack of ribs. So
Yeah.
don't have a spread yet because it's 2 weeks out. If I had to guess, so Memphis is 5-0. They're undefeated. I believe UAB is 2-3, so you're likely looking at probably, I don't
High
know,
double digits. I would
10.
say. I was gonna say
You think
like six.
14?
I'd say 16 and a half.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what
Yeah.
that spread is. But yeah, so you guys will get a chance. I hope they have that front and center. I'm gonna guess they probably do. Are gonna show that a few times. It was nice to see. Although the Purdue Boilermakers did not cover, they did have that little Purdue cannon on the side. So they snuck a few peeks at that while I was watching that game that probably no one else watched on This Year in Alum of those two schools.
And if you pick them as your bet, so
So mad at that. But yeah, so that's going to do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please help us. We are going to really try and promote our Pads of the Pacific. Please give us some feedback on it, especially if you're Oregon or Washington alum fans. Let us know. We really do. We really enjoyed spotlighting that rivalry especially because it's West Coast and there's always that East Coast, West Coast bias. That rivalry is super intense, a lot of fun, needs some more shine, and more importantly, needs a goddamn trophy for people to parade around and have some bragging rights with. So if you see our posts on social media, we're going to be a little bit more intentional about putting it out in the ether to try and get some people's attention because we definitely do think that rivalry deserves a trophy. So please help us out there. And then join us next week when we talk about the Blue Bonnet Shield. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
cheers.